11 things our great-grandparents did better than us. 1. They could ride and care for a horse. Automobiles were owned only by the very rich. Most transportation was done on foot or by horse. Men learned from a young age how to saddle a horse. They also could hitch one to a carriage. 2. They wrote and received letters regularly. Written correspondence was the only way to keep in touch. Occasionally, people would send telegrams. Mail was delivered 6 times a day in some cities. 3. They could get by without electricity. Most people in the 1870s relied on fire for illumination. They used candles, oil lamps, or built-in gas lighting. They could cook, clean, and get around without electricity. Once it was dark out, they would go to bed. 4. They sewed their own clothes. Sewing was taught to girls from a young age. A store-bought outfit was a big deal. Most families made their own clothes. They knew how to mend them as well. They could sew on a button or hem a pant leg as needed. Old adult clothes could be cut down to fit children. 5. They made their own household goods. Women sewed their own household linens. They were completed with embroidery or tatting. Scraps of fabric went into the rag bag. They were then made into a quilt or rag rug for the floor. 6. They knew how to behave in different social situations. Etiquette in the late 1800s was more codified. It was focused on not making others uncomfortable. 7. They could get a good job without a lot of education. Many adults in the 1870s had only an elementary education. Secondary education wasn't compulsory yet. A college education was mostly for the elite. Still, people could get good-paying jobs in manufacturing. They worked in industries like steel or meat packing. 8. They could get cheap household help. Many families had about 5 children to care for, so they often hired household help. It was affordable, even for the middle class. Live-in maids were seen as part of the family. They were listed with their employers in the census records. 9. They grew their own food. Families got meat, eggs, and milk from their own animals. They planted vegetables, fruit trees, and berry bushes. They saved their own garden seeds every year. Some grew medicinal herbs or foraged for them. 10. They cooked and baked from scratch. Children always helped to put the meal on the table. Families passed down their best recipes to their kids. Dishes were often exchanged with neighbors. 11. They helped one another. People knew how important community was. When they needed help, they got it from their neighbors. They got together to help those who ran into misfortune. Many times, these favors were returned. People thanked each other with baked goods and flowers. They always took time to write a thank you note as well.